Welcome back to Beers and Breakevens out of NRL SuperCoach Round 11, NRL Magic Round. I'm your host, Tim Williams, and I tell you what, there's a bit of magic in the air this weekend, certainly in the CBA Centre of Excellence. And the reason for that is that my co-host today has gone from a 2 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10. He's gone from 2 brain cells to about 2 million brain cells. He's gone from being a shit bloke to becoming a good bloke. Random stats guy, welcome to your Beers and Breakevens debut.
Mate, that's probably the best intro I'll ever get on a podcast. Thank you for having me. So unfortunate that the Roo isn't in today, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, so I woke up this morning to the massive news, what I thought would be the biggest news of the day, in Dave Fafita backflipping on his deal at the Sydney Roosters to stay at the Gold Coast Titans. Anyway, it was certainly not the biggest news even of the morning. Guru calls me half an hour later and he was absolutely inconsolable and he was sad, bawling his eyes out, and he goes, mate, I can't do it. I'm like, you can't do what? He goes, I can't do the podcast today. We know he's a diehard Roosters fan. We know he bleeds tricolours, and he just goes, mate, I love to come in. I want to do it for the Beers and Breakevens listeners, but he goes, I'm just a shadow of myself at the moment. So unfortunately, Guru couldn't make it in today off the back of the news that Fafita has backflipped on the Roosters. But mate, Dave Fafita, not SuperCoach relevant for the time being, but that is a big backflip.
Absolutely, especially when you hear that other Roosters back rowers are putting themselves on the open market off the back of that news. Maybe they might backflip as well, hopefully for Roosters fans. But yeah, I did not see that coming. My brother is a diehard Titans fan. When he messaged me that morning, I just told him, you're having a bad dream, mate. He hasn't backflipped. He's still going to the Roosters. But lo and behold, I woke up to the news too. So crazy stuff.
For the good of the game, mate, and I'm sure Roosters supporters will hate me for saying this, Guru included, but I like it. Like the Titans, if they were to lose, Dave Fafita, they have Tino Fasuamalawi next year coming back from an ACL injury, the keys to their forward pack and just about everything in that team. To see him go to the Roosters, all good and well, but they just would have been very dominant, but just to keep the Titans strong and their strike weapon, I think it's so good for the club and for the NRL in general.
Absolutely. It's a huge keep for the Titans. Him and Tino next year will be, guns. And it's just such a shame that Tino's injured this year because I thought the Titans were really going to make a play there with Desi around. But obviously Desi's gotten into his ear and talked him into staying along, and hopefully we'll see the best out of the Titans because fortunately this year it's been a bit tough for them.
Yeah. Speaking of tough, the only person on Beers and Breakevens who is reliable, look, her team, the South Sydney Rabbitohs, has been absolute bastards all season long, but she turns up week in, week out. It doesn't matter what. Kat her dad. Kat, how are you?
I really appreciated that intro too. That was lovely.
Much more positive vibes about her, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice.
You've brought in a different team culture today, Timmy.
Yeah. And look, Kat, on the negatives, actually, it's not really a negative. You, speaking of Magic Round, you have some serious powers because if anyone has any vendettas against anyone, you can break them.
I can.
Who's the latest one on your hit list?
Well, as we discussed last week, the Guru bobblehead got it broke. And what happened a few days later? Guru gets the man flu. He's sick. He's out for a week. There are comments in Punters and Dribblers saying, is Guru alive? What's going on? Where's his content? Well, I'm a little bit worried that I may have made this happen with this said magic that you've brought up because I'll throw to you, Rando, but you're holding another bobblehead that I broke about 6 weeks ago, and we've now learnt some really bad news about this particular player.
Absolutely. A delayed magic trick, this one. 6 weeks later, Tommy Turbo goes down with another hamstring injury. I don't know what's up with you, Kat. I don't know what's going on at all. Just stay away from me. I'm trying to get to Magic Round safe to Brisbane. And, yeah, please don't touch me when I walk out of here.
Was it Turbo's right leg?
I'm not too sure. Could have been.
Ooh.
Could have been. Let's just say it is. For the content, it was the right leg. Unbelievable.
Anyway, so if you... I've got good rates, good prices. If there is any bobbleheads or figurines you need me to break, just reach out.
Yeah, if we could get any Adam Fanua-Blake or KL Iro bobbleheads fast track to the studio before the weekend, that'd be wonderful. Kat has got her sledgehammer ready for me. Now, scores from round 11. The Guru, Crook's a dog, the poor bug, went to New Zealand on the weekend to watch his brother play over there. He's in bad shape, so under a bit under a bit of a cloud leading into Magic Round. So we hope the big fella is on the mend and will be good for a few beers up in Brizzy at Suncorp Stadium. He scored 1,165 points last week, moving up into 7,530th overall. A good week considering he didn't buy Dom Young. For myself, 1,107 points. After the Dom Young just debacle, missed out on him. Watching Sunday afternoon, I should say, 130 after about 15 minutes, Rando, and I just thought, oh, this is me dead and gone. Dom Young's about to get 250. So I dropped a grand total of 38 spots. So I'm still sitting around 10K overall. I thought that was going to be absolutely diabolical, but I got out of it okay. The rest of the week was fine up until Dom Young, who I was within an absolute whisker of trading him in when RTS went down injured. Had the trade left in the bank to do so. And I was looking at the break-even of Scotty Drinkwater. I wanted to go fuller to Drinkwater this week. I needed Drinky to go under his 96 break-even to be able to afford that in one trade. And I went, I'll play it safe. I won't risk it. And I got Fire Logo in instead of Dom Young. The rest is history, mate. The Spy last night, we were both sitting at 10K overall leading into last round. He bought Dom Young. I didn't. He beat me by 150 points. He went up 5,000 spots.
Wow.
Mate, how are you tracking?
1,163. Finally, a green week for me. The last 2 weeks have just been rolling back, so I'm 24,916th overall, but in the green at least. I'm one of those guys who got Dom Young late in the piece. Had to trade out RTS because Nico obviously didn't play, and thank God he was basically cash for cash with Roger because I had nothing in the bank at all. And then when I was there scrolling through, I think because I was playing Guru this week as well, so when I was watching the game, I thought Guru's just smoking me here, and then 100 points from Dommy Young. And if he made, I think that was the third line break, the first one he made in the second half, I think it was his only run in the second half, he almost fended off Dallin Wateni-Zalesniak. Yeah. And if he went in to score that try, I would have had Guru went down by 2 points. Oh. Not going to mention Tom Dearden's 26. That could have won me the game if he just got 30, but very close to a famous victory against the Roo.
Yeah, that one hurts, mate. Tommy Dearden, your boy, letting you down
my boy,
as well.
My main man. And I spiked him up. I was on the podcast with you about 2 weeks ago saying, Dearden, great buy. He had a stellar week the week before against the Finns, and then, geez, came back crashing down to earth.
I thought he was a good buy last week as well, so that aged well. Kat, how did you go? And about Even League update, how are we tracking?
Yeah, I think we should just skip to the next part, eh? Yeah. Oh, it's a shocker from me, guys. I had Nico Hines, RTS, neither of whom I did anything with. And I had Cleary as my captain as well. I didn't activate. No. I know. I didn't. I saw the Turbo, he was my VC. There was a decent score there, but I took my chances with Cleary and then obviously regretted that one. So I dropped 12,000 spots and I now find myself at 37,000. I scored 886. This was a shocking round for me.
That is diabolical.
Yeah, I know. It hurts.
It shows, again, not a good round, obviously, but it shows how quickly it can turn.
But also, on the other hand, I can hopefully rectify it this week and do something with it. So.
Did you boost last week?
I did boost last week.
You boost last week and had your worst week. Oh, SuperCoach is a cruel game. We're getting back-to-back boosts, aren't we?
It's very cruel. Most likely, yeah.
About even.
Okay, so let's look at the head-to-heads. So you, Rando, you were saying that you played Guru.
Heartbreaking loss. We don't need to go through it again.
Okay, cool. Heartbreaking loss. Kuma Stallion. Sorry, I'm just looking up the results.
I actually know the result of this one. This is very, very funny.
Oh, no.
So
I did not lose to Tom already, surely.
I'll just get mine out of the way real quick. I lost to Heinz Hounds. Doesn't matter. I would have lost to anyone in the group except Tom Birmingham, who scored less than me. He scored 800. Rando's All-Stars, you lost to Guru Grizzlies by 2 points, as discussed.
Thanks
and
again.
Kuma Stallions, you lost to Edward the Dribblers by only 5 or
5 points to
11,
Ed.
11 points.
11 points to Ed is 100 points to Ed.
There was nothing in it.
I lost to Eddie.
I was going to flick it to you, but I was like, nah, surely he's just watching that and drowning in his sorrows.
I mean, that's probably one of Eddie's best scores so far. So
he's on the comeback trail. He's got a 3-2 record now. Can't
Rando
sleep
with
on
the
him.
stats.
Yeah, I know. everything. Doesn't matter what the league is.
I was just recovering from the Dom Young rattling on Sunday. Like, that has scarred me the last couple of days. Now that's going to scar me leading into Magic again. And I've put up with his shit all weekend at the Caxton.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll remind Eddie when I go to the LA Sports Studios in a bit too.
All right, let's get into it. Last week's Beers and Breakevens Unlimited Group winner, Raging Rhinos, coached by Ryan. He won the week overall. Absolute legend, 1,471 points. Beat everyone in Supercoach is what I'm saying. Get in contact with us, mate, via mine or Guru's social channels to collect the prize, preferably Guru's, more work for him, and he's had a quiet week, so he's got time in his hands. 7 of the top 8 overall in the Beers and Breakevens League. We've got the 7 of the top 8 overall. Remarkable.
Wow.
Everything except second place. So absolutely freaking firing. The code to jump in that league, 339640. That will be shutting down at the start of the major buy period, round 13. So get in. Chance to win $6,000 cash.
Huge.
Let's get stuck into it this week. No Thursday night game for Magic Round. We kick off with the headliner of the weekend, the Raiders and the Bulldogs, 6 p.m. Now, I'm going on the Ruse notes here, so look, if he wants to stitch me up, it'll work. Raiders, Jordan Rapana back in the number 1. No Corey Horsburgh. At the Bulldogs, Josh Curran named on the bench, Sam Hughes to start. Not too much to touch on there, at least according to Guru's short notes. No, he's done well. Manly and the Broncos, 8 p.m. that night. This should be a cracker. Massive shame that no Tommy Turbo available. Tolatau Kola at fullback. There'll be more on him later. We'll have a Rando stat deep dive. We'll have my stat deep dive. It's going to be a stat-heavy episode.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Raymond Vega and Jackson Bolo on the wings. Tommy Talau at centre. Hamole Olakawatu returns from suspension. And Ben Trebojevic holds his spot starting back row. As someone who held on to Burbo, you beauty. I won't be playing him with those hammies, but we'll take it.
Man, he's definitely in my team, definitely.
You're playing him?
Yeah, I'm playing him. I got no choice.
Well, now that you say it, we'll get to sit v starts a little later, but with all the injuries, it's a little tough little week. So
Absolutely.
I might have played Burbo. At the Broncos, Jock Madden returns at halfback. Remarkably, he's one of the better options to replace Cleary and all the halves have gone down, as we know. Tyson Smoothie at 9. Blake Moser, number 14, a gun rookie hooker there, I should say, coming off the bench for, I believe, his second NRL game on Saturday. The Titans and the Knights, 3 p.m. Randall and Verrills in the halves for a depleted Titans outfit. Brimson, 4 and gone. Aaron Clark starts at 9 there in Licorice All Sorts. At the Knights, Jack Cogger at 6. Kai Pearce-Paul named on the bench, mate. We had a chat about it last night on the podcast. I'm going to stick strong with him. I'm hoping it's just getting a bit of a rest after playing big minutes all year, but I expected him to start this week. The bye next week for the Knights. He then plays round 13. I think I'm going to reassess after round 13 if he hasn't won back the starting spot. What are you thinking?
I just want to see his minutes, to be honest. And this is where I'm at a tight road now, where I've got Pearce-Paul or Ben Trebojevic. Who do I play? I feel like Ben Trebojevic is going to get more minutes and probably have to make a billion more tackles than Kai Pearce-Paul will. So, yeah, I watched Kai Pearce-Paul score a double in the second half against the Titans, but that's been the tough one. I'll probably swap it on game day, but I still don't know.
It's hard. Just please to God, just start Kai Pearce-Paul.
Yeah, Burbo 45, Kai Pearce-Paul 41. I know there's not much in it, but 4 points.
Yeah.
I'll take anything.
I think, if Pearce-Paul does start, that'll make things much easier. And the beauty of it is the 3 p.m. game, the third game of the round. So we'll know relatively early on, not before the Manly game.
Not before Burbo.
At the Tigers, Stafford Toa, and what do we got here? What have you done, Guru? Stafford Toa's out. Naden wing, Galvin 6, Bud Sullivan 7. Potentially not. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, mate. At the Sharkies versus the Roosters, Nico Hines named in number 7 to play. He did not train yesterday. Got through a bit of work, but didn't train with the main squad. Still in a bit of doubt. Braden Trindle on the extended bench as cover for him. So it's just a case of watching this space there. At the Roosters, Joey Manu out due to concussion. Thrilled about this, Rando, as a non-owner, but at the same time, with one of his harder games against the ladder-leading Sharks, I was hoping that maybe a 40-point score, a bit of a price drop ahead of buying for round 13. Probably not going to get that. Are you an owner?
Non-owner. I decided to keep Val Holmes, and finally something's caught up with me, and thankfully Manu is out. Got concussed in the last 30 seconds of that Warriors game. I was so confused why I didn't see him in the team list. So, very, very glad that he's missing. Obviously wish him the best, but for a non-owner.
But also, if you want to sit out 3 weeks, I'd be cool.
You can. Maybe origin period. Maybe just take
cautious.
it off. Yeah.
At 7:45 Saturday night, South and the Cows. South, Alex Johnston returns on the wing. Thompson at centre. Jacob Gagai returns on the wing. Gagai's an interesting one, mate, because I haven't seen a lot probably said about him just yet, but he does come back from injury with a negative 80 break even, an 88 in his rolling average. Bottom dollar at 204K. Like, if you need a cash cow, he's about as good as they get.
Well, I brought him in so that he could get that price rise, and I've been waiting for him to have that third game, and here it comes. So hopefully we can get a price rise. And I'm not too sure. I mean, it's the Cowboys. They're leaking tries left, right, and centre at the moment. That's another one where do I sit him out or do I bring him in? I think I'm going to sit him out and just cop whatever he gets. But he did get 71 in his last game against Penrith, and I didn't play him. I didn't think he was going to score that much anyway. But, I think it's one of those ones where I think I'm just going to miss out on whatever score he gets and take the cash.
I think, like, with Alex Johnston back, he'll play left wing. That's where you want your bunnies winger. So he'll play right wing, which becomes pretty concerning as a play, albeit it is against the Cowboys on a good Suncorp Stadium surface. I would be sitting Gagai. If Alex Johnston wasn't past fit and was laid out, and Gagai potentially goes to the left, that'd change it a little bit. But moving on from that one, nothing new at the Cowboys on Sunday. Warriors versus Panthers. Bid on at the Warriors. Tane Torpicki at fullback. Leotau at centre. Keep an eye on Leotau. His cheap gun bustling centre. If he can lock down that spot cheapy in coming weeks with a bit of later buy coverage as well. Cello Montoya back on the wing. Tamari Martin at 7, Chancellor Cookstad at number 6. Did not see this one coming. Do not love it for the Warriors. I see why they did it. I understand it. I don't like it for your SuperCoach prospects.
No, not at all. I mean, in the last 2 games for the Wires, they've only scored 6 points against Penrith. They haven't scored more than a try. And then Penrith, they haven't conceded more than 1 try at Suncorp in their last 3 games as well. And with Charnsey and T-Marie's great half, but Charnsey at half, just not too sure where they're going to find their points. And if you either sit out CNK, you sell them, to be honest, for me.
Because of all the injuries at fullback and the bit of the crisis there and other headaches to deal with, you certainly hold on to Charles, and he could also be back to fullback as soon as next week. He scored well despite the Warriors' poor form. He had a bit of a bludger 2 weeks ago, but even that was 40-odd. Scored well on the weekend despite getting pumped, so he's scoring fine. 5'8", though, is going to be a different story. So, look, hold tight this week and just reassess. I think a move, if he stays at 5'8" and scores poorly, perhaps a move to like Drinky or Walsh or something could be a play, but not ideal for Chan's owners. Mate, at the Panthers, Jack Cole starts at 6 in the halves in place of Nathan Cleary. Scotty Sorensen on the extended bench. Just on Jack Cole, everyone looking for halfback replacements. You're not going to jump on him early. He is 5'8" only at the moment, which is fine because both halfback and 5'8" are pretty ordinary positions, but 204K. Still waiting confirmation on how long Brad Schneider's out for because he's the regular replacement for Nathan Cleary. But 204K, 5'8" in a gun Panthers side, plays round 13. If he makes a fist to that position and has it sort of for the length that Nathan Cleary's out, which is about 2 months, it could be a really nice buy.
Absolutely. I'm really keen to see which side he plays on. Usually 5'8's traditionally on that left. Does Jerome stay on that left? Because when Cleary comes in next year and they're probably going to be the halves, Cleary will occupy that right. So do they get him ready on the left early or not? I mean, bloody Ivan stitches us up with positional switches. He chucked Toto on the right wing, on the left wing, the right wing last week. So I'm not too sure. It's going to be really interesting to see which way he plays him. It's
a great point, and I'm sick of talking about it, but for Taylor May, because if Luai can piss off to that right edge and it's Jack Cole feeding Taylor May, that changes Taylor May completely.
100%.
Oh, God, I hope. You've got me excited now.
Mate, that's what I'm here for.
It hadn't even crossed my mind. I think Jack Cole will play right, Luai left, but I only need a smither of hope, mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Storm versus Eels, not too much going on at the Storm, according to Rue's notes. I don't have the full team list up here. Dion Arcee in at number 6 for the Eels. at the Tigers and Dolphins game to round out Magic Round. Alex Seyfarth on the edge, Alex Twal at 13. Sione Finu's job security really good now because John Bateman is out long term. Isaiah Papali'i is out just for 1 week due to a suspension. But yeah, good news for Finu owners. At the Dolphins, a bit of a heartbreaker for me. I saw it coming, but there was a smidgen of hope that maybe Trey Fuller keeps his fullback spot. Wasn't to be. Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow returning at fullback. Kenny Bromwich back in the team as well, and Trey Fuller is 18th man. So, one on Trey Fuller, mate, and you're not an owner?
Not an owner, no.
So, I've just seen a lot of people saying, not a problem, offers, coverage through the Origin period with Hammer, presumably gone to Origin, but not playing this week. He won't play next week. Sure, he'll play round 13. Then the Dolphins have to buy round 14. Yeah, he'll get round 16 and 19, but barring injury to Hammer or restings or whatever, he's basically getting a handful of games over the next 2.5 months in the all-important fullback position. I'm not saying I'm definitely doing it yet. Still need to assess a few things, but I think he's a sell. A lot of people holding and go, no, it's cool Origin cover. When your fullbacks can be like Reece Walsh and Drinkwater or Dylan Edwards, I don't think he's old, is he?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think, as you mentioned, he's not going to get too much game time, which is a shame. Would have loved to see him at fullback and Hammer at centre. It would actually work really well for Queensland and the Dolphins because they get Fuller to stay at fullback and Hammer gets to have a few games in his belt at centre as well. But yeah, I think you got to sell him off. I don't think he's going to do much.
Mate, Blue Wealth Property. The links to all their upcoming events will be in the YouTube, the podcast descriptions, all that good stuff. So the webinar links, the RSVP links. What do they have coming up tonight? 6:30 p.m. in Melbourne. Wealth Through Property. 15th of May at the Crown Promenade. Thursday, the 30th of May, Wealth Through Property live in Southern Sydney. Club Central in Hurstville. 6:30 p.m. Special pop-up event as well, Thursday, May 23rd at 12 p.m. Property in 2024. What does the scene look like? Webinar available for that one. Where are we at in the property cycle? What's in store for the remainder of 2024? I've been to these before events with Blue Wealth Property. Really, really cool, Rando. It's a wheel. It's a cycle. It's a wheel and tells you every state in the country, cities, where they're at on the wheel, whether they're boom, they're bust, time to invest, time to not. Really, really fascinating stuff. So check that one out as well. Learn everything you need to know about building wealth through property and how Blue Wealth use a research process to identify the best investments for your financial future. The best time to buy property was 20 years ago. The second best time, do you know what it is?
Is it now?
It's now.
Oh, wow.
You're a natural, Rando.
Wow. That wasn't rehearsed at all. I could have gotten that well wrong.
Blue Wealth can make it happen for you. So check out those links and support Blue Wealth Property for supporting us. Stat Deep Dive. We've got 2 today.
Oh, yeah.
We've got my Stat Deep Dive, which is like scratching the surface. Then we've got a real deep dive, which is your one, mate. You're the real stat man on this show. Let's start with yours, mate. Who have you got?
First of all, obviously Magic Round was going to pull out some Magic Round stats on which players seem to play really well during this period. The top 2 players who will be playing, unfortunately, Nathan Cleary out. He averages 129 in 3 matches at Magic Round, so we'll cut him out. James Tedesco and Cam Munster both averaged 93 points in Magic Round, so one to keep an eye on. Teddy up against Cronulla, Munster with the favourable draw against Parramatta as well for people who have him. Keep him. If you're looking at him, maybe consider him here. Melbourne Storm at Suncorp generally go really well. So if you're looking for someone or 2 players there, Tedesco, Munster, the next best. Then you got Hines, Walsh and Edwards all averaging over 90 as well at Magic Round. So there's a few players there just to keep an eye on. Are you typing in some names there?
Oh, yeah, all sorts of stuff going on here, mate.
Genuinely taking notes.
Definitely taking notes.
Munster,
Magic Round.
Munster, Tedesco, good at SuperCoach and football. The Magic Man, Munster. It isn't interesting, like the Origin period, and this is why we love SuperCoach and why the buy period and all that makes it so fascinating, because halves, crisis, like there are good buys available, for head-to-head players. Cameron Munster, Daly Cherry Evans, these sorts of blokes, but with Origin coming, it's like they're hard to go near. James Tedesco, mate, like he looms as a terrific buy at 705k, absolutely sizzling this season, 3 tons, plays round 13, plays round 16 if he misses Origin. What's your gut feel? I think it's between him and Dylan Edwards. I'm torn. I don't know who's going to be picked for the Blues, but whoever's not becomes a red hot buy in Supercoach.
I think someone pointed out, some Eagle Eye fans, they were doing a BSC commercial for the Blues, and James Tedesco was front and centre in that commercial. So,
Okay.
I mean, I personally think it's his jersey to lose, and I don't think he's lost that jersey. Dylan Edwards is playing out of his skin. And I just feel like he's just really unlucky that he's in an era with James Tedesco, because I just don't think you move him. So I think Teddy will get it, which makes Dylan Edwards a great buy, because they're not carrying him. He's not going to play wing. He's not going to be 14th man. So I think he's a great carry. So it's going to be interesting, but I would have Teddy in the Origin side and think that way with Supercoach.
Yeah. I kind of want it to be Dylan. I love James Tedesco. I kind of want it to be Dylan. I feel like Dylan Edwards has earned his shot, but the more I think about and listen to people, I think you might be right. Incumbent, captain. He's also playing awesome footy. So
yeah, they need some experience as well now with Cleary out and some players out. Yeah. So they need someone who's been there and done it.
Mate, who else you got for us?
Another player who's kind of dropped off the scene a little bit is Jermaine Hopgood, 13% ownership. He loves playing the Melbourne Storm. He's turned up in his last 2 games against them. So just keep an eye out on Jermaine Hopgood coming in at, I forgot his price there, 659K. He has dropped off about 89K. I'm not too sure if he's bottomed out just yet either. So, it's going to be an interesting buy, but definitely someone who stands up. Will he get those minutes, though, is the big question.
And that's it, mate. Like without listing my 1 to 18 at the Maroons, I had him playing Origin this year with a few injuries, especially like Tommy Flegler's gone. Obviously, Tino's gone. So they are a little bit lighter on. I had him in my Origin team, so I hadn't really considered him, and I still probably do without really nailing it down. Spoke to you pre-show, and you said not so sure.
Not so sure at all. I think there's a couple of players coming in. I wasn't too sure on Tom Flegler's deadline from that AC injury. Is he, what round did they say?
He's had a bit of a setback. Like, he's not overly close to coming back, so he won't be Origin, at least not the early stages.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that could be a possible middle option as well. I think there's a few people knocking at the door. I really like Jaden Seward to reclaim his Origin jersey, and that's where I see Jermaine Hopgood kind of knocking back that role. So I think Hopgood might not get the selection. That's just purely on the Eels form, but we'll see how Billy goes for it, whether he does loyalty or not.
Yeah, hopefully Guru's not listening to this one, because
I'm sitting in his seat and I'm talking about
if
Hopgood.
you listen quietly, you can actually hear him crying.
This will be my last show here, that's for sure.
That'll put Guru out of next week's show as well, so mate, get warm over there. Mate, is that it?
Stubby Cooler. Playing the fullback role, mate.
Took me a second there. I like that.
Right. No, thanks. Yeah. No, it's definitely a Tom and Eddie term, but I'll take it off him for this one.
Stubby Cooler.
Stubby Cooler. So he's playing fullback, and he loves playing fullback against obviously the Dogs and Tigers. He scored well above 100. Tough task here against the Broncos. Probably a wait and watch at the moment, but for me, Jason Saab going down with an injury, he's just sub straight back into my team, to be honest. And I am going to take the gamble, and hopefully he's only $470K, very cheap at the moment, right for the picking. So I'm going to take the gamble with him. He's got that fullback jersey. I think Ruben Garrick's just basically said I'm a right centre now, so I don't think he's leaving that position. So I think Cooler's got it for the next 10 weeks.
Riddle me this,
here we
Rando.
go.
Broncos at Suncorp in Magic Round, they will be absolutely up for this. Storm next week at Four Pines in Brookie Oval.
Flat track, good.
Yeah, honestly, that one doesn't worry me. Like, it's not a good matchup, don't get me wrong, but at Brookie, I don't hate it. Then the bye in round 13, Penrith in round 14, out in Penrith. The draw, it can't be harder the next 3 weeks. 470K, his break even's 53, so he's not going to rise if at all, in cash this week. I'm just eyeing him off as around sort of 15 buy, might be sort of 550K. You're not tempted to wait, or are you happy to just go stuff it? I'm locking him in.
Last 3 games for the Broncos, they've conceded 93, 112 and 51 points to the fullback. So I don't mind if he just gets 50, but he has the opportunity to kind of like break out into open space. Luke Brooks, most try assists in Magic Round with 7 in 4 games. I reckon he opens it up, maybe an intercept again, and finds Stubby Cooler, because Cooler just seems to score tries off the back of support play, and that's all I need him to do. I'm going to take the gamble. I'm going to take the Tyson gamble here and put him in.
Oh, he's cheap. Yeah, I like him. I think I'll just be waiting.
I'd wait. But this is just a price move for me.
Yeah.
Free up some cash.
I like it, mate. That it?
All done. Over to you, mate.
Over to
Take
me.
it away.
Now, I actually have one stat that could be even a deeper dive than yours. The rest of them are very much surface level this week. There is one good one, and I was keen to get Rue's thoughts on this and roast him about it last week. But, mate, we sat here all last week talking about Dom Young. I was keen on him. I think Rue said that he's a terrible footballer. Should be playing on Massive Carp. Didn't rate something along those lines. I can't remember the exact wording.
We actually have we made a video about Dom Young last week. And he said all of those things.
Yeah.
I'll put the highlights of Dom Young's game then side to side.
He's never been a SuperCoach pick for Rue. He just doesn't get him.
He has his guys and he has his non-guys.
Yeah.
Dom Young was a non-guy, but I've spoken to Rue and you best believe, guess who's in his trade plans this week? Dom Young.
No.
I'll give Rue one thing.
A backflip.
Talks a lot of shit, but when it comes to SuperCoach, and I feel like I've taught him this, he's willing to swallow his pride when he knows he gets run wrong. So it's taken him a long way in recent years. The one thing we did agree on with Dom Young last week was there was a concern over Joey Manu and his glue hands.
Yeah.
Now, I threw something out on social media Friday last week because I just went, I looked at Dom Young's stats from this year and I'd gone, he's been sizzling there and Joey Manu's been inside him. So I went back and looked at last year's when I said, is Joey Manu's glue hands not a myth? Because throughout his career he's been a ball hog centre, tucks under the arm and goes. That's his style of footy. I think it's now irrelevant because Dom Young this season, this is updated from my stats on Friday, in 6 games this season, excluding the send-off game, he has 6 tries and 13 line breaks outside of Joey Manu. It's remarkable. Last year outside with Jackson Borlo and Joseph Suoliti outside him in 9 games, there were 9 tries and 8 line breaks. And even like before the weekend, but you just see it now. Joey Manu, he's going to the line looking to draw in the defender and then offload out the back or tip on, whatever it might be. He's changed his mindset and it's made him an even more lethal footballer. For that exact reason alone, I'm swallowing my pride and just getting Dom Young in this week because terrifying not to own. He's averaging this year, outside of that negative 15 send-off game, 93.6 points, 684k, negative 31 break even. I'm just going to bite the bullet and do it. Rando, you've got him. Kat, I'm guessing with your score, I'd be very concerned. I'd be very concerned if of your 800 points, 160 were from Dom Young.
Yeah, no.
Biting the bullet this week.
I'm happy to get him in my team. I watched the Roosters presser yesterday and the comments he made really accompany what you just said statistically really well because at the Knights he had to do so much more. And yes, he was top try scorer and all of that, but I think what we're seeing at this Roosters side is that Manu trusts him. Manu is like he's willing to give him the ball. I think we're seeing that Young doesn't have to do as much, but he just has to be in the right place at the right time and he's reaping rewards and we're seeing that in the stats as well. So I think it goes well with what he was saying about his current performance.
Yeah. Even tastier, that Sharks left edge defence is conceding 32% of their tries, which is their weakest edge. So
beautiful.
Dommy Young coming down that side, Roosters right side dominant. Wouldn't imagine him getting over 50 again, I reckon.
Yeah.
Maybe 100. Not going to call it, but.
Yeah, well, that's it. They play around 13, play around 16. It's a really soft draw, certainly after this week. I think it's not necessarily now or never, but after this week, he'll probably rise another 100 odd K. I think you've just got to get him in and cough up the cash for Dom Young. Mate, next one, Jacob Kiraz. Just on Dom Young, firstly, there will probably be a 30 or a 40 in him. We've seen it.
100%.
But he's going to offset that with 120s and 130s at the Roosters.
Yeah,
so it's
absolutely.
like you just take him 40 years.
Yeah.
Jacob Kiraz. Every time you think, I won't worry about him, he's just an absolute goer. 690k, break even of 67. Mixed bag this year, 3 tons and 5 scores under 50. The low of 36, which isn't bad for a CT dub. He's averaging 19 runs per game, 4 tackle breaks, but over the past 4 weeks, he's had run counts of 23, 18, 22, 29, and he's had 13 tackle breaks in the last 2 weeks. A good Origin buy schedule, plays, I believe, the first 2 major buy-rounds, 13 and 16. Also plays 14, the first mini buy-in, and 17. So, like, it's a great coverage there. Oh, he looks the goods. I'm like, it's hard because I'm going to pay it for Dom Young this week, and then I really want Joey Manu before that Origin period, particularly if Teddy gets picked for Origin. Manu goes to fullback, becomes a must-have. So I don't know if I can squeeze him in, but he looks a good buy.
Absolutely, and it's crazy to think that the Bulldogs so left-side dominant that he's just putting up the stats that he is. 236 metres last week against the Panthers. Obviously had that try, which would have helped his score as well. But, you know, you can guarantee and offload a bunch of tackle breaks each game from him. He makes each one of his runs count. Saw him hobbling in that Panthers game, so hopefully that's just a little bit of a niggle and doesn't come to bite back. But yeah, he's definitely a consistent footballer. The only thing I'm worried about with the Dom Young and the Jacob Kiraz situation is that Roosters are right side dominant. So Dom Young almost guaranteed to get more ball and try scoring opportunities, whereas the Dogs kind of lean on their left a lot. So you do have those off games that you were talking about where he doesn't turn up.
Yeah. And the biggest tick for Kiraz is like they're quite left edge dominant and attack the Dogs. But the right edge has been moving well as well. So like, when we super concerned about that, it's just the form of the Dogs.
Yeah.
They're just playing great footy. And I'd been reluctant in the past to go anywhere near him for that reason, just like lacking attacking upside. Yeah. But the Dogs are just playing great footy. So.
100%. And I'd be interested to see in those ton games if Connor Tracy was playing, because he's really right side. Sorry. Got the guru
Hang
cough
in there,
in the
mate.
end.
Hang in there,
gosh,
mate.
it's in the chair.
Yeah.
I think that Connor Tracy really runs that right side for the Dogs, because other than that, it's just Burden running that left. You'd never see a fullback kind of interfere in that play. So I'll be interested to see if those hundreds are Tracy games.
Very much off the top of my head, but somewhat similar to Dill Edwards at the Panthers.
100%.
Like, basically runs the right edge alongside obviously Nathan Cleary, but doesn't often sort of venture down the left, certainly while Cleary's on deck. So there you go.
Could be onto something.
Mate, next one, just some fallen, I'm not going to say fallen guns, but some blokes as a result of injuries that are getting very cheap in price to keep an eye on in coming weeks. The first one is Jacob Preston with that terrific buy schedule that I mentioned. $570K now with a 24 in his rolling average, playing just 31 minutes off the bench last week against the Panthers. We could be getting him for around that 450 mark leading into the buy period. Looks a terrific pickup at that price, if you ask me. The other one, Helium Lukey, or as the Spy called him on the SC Playbook podcast last night, Helium Lukey. 381K, break even of 54. He's back into minutes after missing about 6 weeks earlier in the season. Mate, you're a Cowboy.
Yeah.
If he can get back to 65 to 80 minutes, which I suspect he will, with Finney Fuiaki on the bench, maybe he's a 65-minute man. But the other thing is, Nanai, probably Origin there somewhere, potentially gets 80 over those weeks. But he could be like 350K in a week or two. Plays round 13, the first mini buy in round 14. Misses 16 and 19. But if you can look past the injury history, like, he's going to be an absolute steal at sort of 350K in a few weeks. Could you go near him, or does the injury history scare you off too much?
The injury history always scares me. Always seem when I bring on someone who does have that injury history, they do go down. But as you mentioned, Preston, I believe, is their first choice. Second choice behind Kickout, but first choice second rower. You can't tell me James Salmon's going to play the whole season starting. And with Finney Fuiaki signing with the Dolphins, Toddy's going to want helium. Oh, sorry, mate. No, Lukey playing as many minutes as he can because he's his go-to. They re-signed him. He'll be the starting forward going forward. So you know those two players are going to start getting game time soon. Lukey starting to get into it. Preston, obviously a few weeks off, a few minutes. So I think they're great buys. Probably wait and watch at the moment, but if you want to get them in quick, then probably
happy to wait and watch.
They'll sit. They'll have to sit for a few weeks.
Yeah, certainly happy to see them bottom out, and more so Lukey just get through games unscathed and get those minutes under his belt. But I think really, really good buys there. And the other thing about Lukey, if you do get him in and you're scared of that injury history, at 350K, like, you're not paying 500 for him. If he's fit and gets through games, he's 600K before you know it. But we want to see the minutes. Mate, the last one there, Brendan Piakura, 416K. Come back not as an 80-minute edge player for the moment. So back from injury, he missed 4 games earlier in the year. Minutes have been 68, 75, and then just 52 against the Eels. But look, if he gets back to an 80-minute edge roll, he's the exact same. Injury history, can find a concussion, all sorts of things. But He's set to be about 350k as well. Not a great bye period schedule for the Broncos. Doesn't play 13 or 16. Does play around 19, but gets the mini bye rounds, 14, 17, 19. Another one, if he gets down to 350k, it's damn cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. His scores haven't been too appealing for me, but definitely if he can get more minutes up his sleeve, but just depends on that, what Kevy's got for his rotation, because I don't really understand why he played less minutes against Para as well. Very interesting choice, but yeah, it's very interesting to see how coaches are going to kind of look into different games. Are we going to see more restings? Are we going to see less minutes for star players where we've seen them get 80 in a row? Can we rely on that consistency? So yeah, definitely one to watch for the time being.
Mate, trades for round 11. What are you looking at?
Obviously, Tom Trbojevic and Jason Saab both out. You're going to make. I sound like a Manly supporter having both of them in my team. I generally forgot I had Saab in there when the round started, and unfortunately, I couldn't find him on the field on Thursday night when I started watching. But I've had to take both of them out. As I mentioned before, Cooler subbed in 470k, much cheaper option, but playing fullback. Really excited to see what he can do at the back. Not too worried about his Broncos Storm fixtures. Just having him in there at the start is a good shout for me. And James Tedesco in for Tom Trbojevic. I think that might be the play for me. There's so many fullbacks that I'm looking at the same time, but I can't afford Dylan Edwards, unfortunately, who would have that bye coverage. And then the only other choice I'd be looking at this point would be Latrell or Reece Walsh, who both will play Origin. So I'm just going to ride the Teddy train for a little bit.
So you've got Drinky?
I've got Drinky, yes.
So Sharkies this week, then Raiders, sweet. You mentioned you think he'll play Origin. He'll miss round 13, 14 and 16. I reckon there's also every chance he doesn't back up after Origin 2, provided he gets picked. Not a lot of footy.
I know, but then I'm looking at Latrell and Reece as well. So I'm like trying to find somebody, please. What other options would you consider? I'm all ears at the moment.
Yeah, look, I still don't mind the Reece Walsh play, just because Brisbane have the bye round 13 and round 16. He was missing those anyway, so he'll be good for the rest of them, except for, of course, round 19. He's still affordable at 680k for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
I think always going to be a chance to rest after Origin, but way more chance of playing than a lot of the other veterans in the game. And Tristan Saylor also saw he's out longer term, injured.
6 to 8.
Adam Reynolds is out. They've got a lot of injuries at the Broncos in key positions. So I do think he's a good chance to back up from Origin. So I still don't mind Reece Walsh as a buy.
Convinced. I'm going to trade it out now.
You do sound like Guru.
I know.
You've convinced me too in the process.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, great advice there. Yep. All right. Well, Reece Walsh in, Turbo out.
There you go.
It's
come from a bloke who I love owning Reece Walsh. Got him at under 50% ownership, but you know what? I'm here to be transparent. So.
Yeah, far out. Wait, hang on. Is it a pod play if I get Teddy now or what?
It is. It absolutely is.
All right. I'm still undecided. I'll think about it.
Kat, what are you looking at this week? Well, surely we're getting a boost.
Yeah, we're boosting. So funnily enough, the whole Dom Young chat, I traded him in that moment.
But you were always going to, right?
Yeah. So RTS out, Dom Young in. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at the Turbo to Walsh move as well. And then I have Cleary too, but I'm trying to decide whether or not that's a leave for a period of time.
Cleary-Hines combo?
I've got them both, yeah.
It's a tough one this week because we're all sitting here going, Nico, isn't he going to play? If he doesn't play, the majority of us are left short a halfback. So it's just going to change plans entirely. But,
So that's kind of where I'm at. So I think the Turbo to Walsh feels good.
It does.
It feels good. And like the Dom Young move, we knew I was going to do that. I was watching a press conference yesterday. Give me a break. That's how you know when I get really invested, I start watching the interviews as well because I need them to justify why. Love that. So then I guess my only other kind of pain point in my team would be what to do with Cleary. I'm more or less happy with what's going on everywhere else. And with those two guys traded in, I've got almost 600K on the bench to work with. So
take your pick.
I've spent a bit of money, obviously, but there's a bit of money to spend. But what I'm learning is having cash in the bank doesn't mean anything because I'm also ranked like 37,000.
You're not saving for anything.
Well, I am, thanks to Blue Wealth Property.
Time is now, Timmy. Time is now. Buy property.
Unfortunately, I can't reinvest this money elsewhere. So let's just
talk to Blue Wealth, see what they can do.
All right. For myself, I mentioned the transparency. I'm very torn on trades at the moment, and I've got things to work out. Just with Trey Fuller there, with the Cleary and Hines halfback combination. So one trade will be Dom Young in. Was deciding whether to go Dallin Martinez to Lesniak or James Schiller to him. I just feel, and I'm keen to get your thoughts, Rando, but Dallin with Sean Johnson out, huge break even, no round 13 coverage. Initially, I was like, just sell. But now I'm like, I do think the Warriors, particularly over the Origin period, once they get SJ back and other teams will be depleted due to Origin, it won't impact the Warriors too much. I think they're going to at least find a bit of something, a bit of fight, and be maybe not what they were last year, but I sit there and go, right, if Dallin Martinez is that's my 5th or 6th centre wing, I don't need to play him each week. I will not be playing him this week against the Panthers. But look, if he drops to 420k or whatever, just to have him there to play, I can just see people flocking to Dallin at 400k in a month's time for buy coverage. So I'm like, I think I might just get rid of Schiller, go hold on to a 10 today, get Dom Young in. I need to work out my second one, hoping Nicho Hines, like all of us, that he plays, so there's no major debacle at halfback. But look, I might have to flip down and go something like Cleary to Sammy Walker if that occurs. I don't want to use my 5th boost. I really don't want to, but I can go to make up that little bit extra cash. I can go Fuller to Drinky this week, which is an elite trade, and it's a great boost. I'm seeing all these injuries, and I'm seeing everyone going hard on trades, myself included. They're going to be vital back end of the season. So we'll update that later on in the week. Mate, your captains.
My captain this week is a really tough choice. I'm just going to have to stick with consistency. I'm just going to stick with Isaiah Yeo for this weekend.
Got
Yoey. And he just punches out 70 each week.
I love that you have him.
Same.
Yeah, I know. It's it was him or Paddy Carrigan, but I just want someone who's consistently just going to deliver the job. Last year for me, that was Tohu Harris. This year, we've got Yeo, so Yeo definitely the captain option. Drinky he did me well last week, so I've dropped the vice on him, but I'm pretty set on Isaiah Yeo with the C. I'm not going to loop or anything.
Without wanting to change your mind at all, mate.
You've already done it once, so may as well. I don't know who to captain this week, so please.
Extremely consistent Isaiah Yeo. I'm jealous that you own. Top score this year of 94. Every score this season has been between 55 and 94. Rock solid captaincy option. Made a dry Suncorp surface up there. Scott Drinkwater. Cowboys were terrible last week against the Titans.
But it was a dry Gold Coast surface
I know.
Against the 16th place.
And he still scored 59. And they were terrible. Top score this year is 144. A low of 39. So not horrific. Second lowest of 48 points. Gets the Bunnies, who defensively are terrible. You do you, mate. You play Mr. Conservative, but I'm chasing the upside of Scott Drinkwater every day of the week.
Well, Panthers playing Sunday. Do I just vice Drinky and then see what happens?
The other option here, and one to note this week. Oh, this is good. This is good. No, it'll work in your favour. If Nicho Hines is ruled out, plays in the 4th game of the round against the Roosters, so people looking to go maybe like Cleary to Sammy Walker could do that with that news. But if you go an early VC in the round and then Nicho gets ruled out, you get a free shot at the VC loophole and you cannot waste a trade on the halfback position. So you can't really do that because... Oh, you could, because you could do Drinky Saturday night before the Penrith game. And if Drinky doesn't go... Yeah, so one to note.
Good, I'm even more confused now.
For myself... That's actually put a bit of food for thought in my head if Nicho does get ruled out. But I'm going Reece Walsh. Reece Lightning, Suncorp, Magic Round. There's going to be some magic at that stadium on Friday night. Manly pretty depleted in the outside backs defensively with Turbo out, Kohler to fullback. Lots of opportunity there. I think Reece Walsh puts on a show, and I'm just going to enjoy my weekend at the Caxton and across Magic Round with a Reece Walsh 150 in the bag. So that leaves my VC on Josh Curran off the bench in 30 minutes because I've got no other options. Kat, what are you thinking?
The exact same. I'm going to put the captaincy on Reece Walsh. I'm bringing him in. May as well just go to the maximum usage in week 1. He's also the only real contender, I think, where I think there's some points guaranteed there. So I'm just going to roll with him, and I agree with your reasoning behind Manly and it being it's Broncos at Suncorp.
Oh.
It's the first night of
You've
Magic
almost
Round.
convinced
I'm
me.
going to be at the game, unlike you guys, because you all watch from Caxton. I'm going to be in that stadium watching those
Thank you
games.
very much.
We'll
I
be
bought
having a good
tickets.
time.
I actually bought tickets during the week, so I'll also be there.
good,
Thank
good,
you.
good.
Well, I'll be at
No.
the Caxton by myself, thinking about how I should have gotten Reece Walsh.
You'll be with Rue, and he'll be coughing on you.
All righty. That will wrap it up. Rando has got to hit the froggin and get to about even. So,
Yeah,
mate,
absolutely.
thank you for the about even debut. Huge.
No, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Beauty. Kat, how good?
How good seeing Magic Round, guys.
See you
See
there.
everyone up at Brizzy this weekend. Good luck this weekend.